Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I will be discussing the German science fiction action film Paradise. Spoiler ahead. Watch out and take care. This is the tale of a unique company that transfers the years of one person's life to another person. The person who donates their years receives a generous sum of money. Imagine, if a wealthy elderly individual desires to regain their youth, this company seeks out a willing donor who is ready to share their age. Through a medical procedure, the young donor sells a portion of their life's years. The story unfolds in a future where society has advanced greatly. In this time, a new company emerges that specializes in age donation. We follow the company's manager, Max, as he searches for potential donors and meets with them. Finding willing donors isn't an easy task, and even when he does find them, it's ultimately their choice whether they want to give away some years of their life. Getting their DNA is important too. So, Max searches for people who could donate their age and talks to them about it. Today, he visited a family with an 18-year-old son who was a suitable match. Max explained to the young man that if he gives away 15 years of his life, the company will give him 700,000 euros, a lot of money. This money could help him with many things, like getting a good education and supporting his family. But that boy also thought, because he will ruin his whole youth like this. Max was really good at convincing people, so he talked to the boy and also convinced a girl later. The boy understood that he couldn't earn 700,000 euros in 15 years, so he started thinking about it, even though it meant giving up some of his youth. The girl's mother felt sad about the idea, but they were a poor family and felt like they didn't have a choice. After finalizing the deal, Max returned to his company. We saw a world where some people lived in small huts because they were poor, while others lived in big, fancy houses because they were rich. There were also some who didn't like the company's work and would protest against it. Max had a big meeting at the company when he got back. Many managers, including Max, were recognized for doing a really good job. A lot of people praised them. Sophie, the head of the company, was also shown. It was her idea about age donation that they were working with. Sophie talked to her team and gave a speech. She explained that everyone gains something from this process. Some people at the company knew it might not be right, but they had to keep working because they were poor and didn't have many choices. To ensure their dedication to the company, Sophie aimed to extend the working lives of their valued employees. She referenced renowned scientists, mentioning that if these individuals had lived for 150 years instead of the usual 50 to 60 years, the world could have achieved much more. Motivated by this idea, the company donated 15 years of age from its scientists. We were then shown the location where these scientists resided. They had regained 15 years of their lives through the process and were joyful about reclaiming their youth. However, an unsettling incident occurred when a nurse, armed with a gun, entered the scene and began attacking them. Chaos ensued as everyone fled in fear. This unfortunate event inflicted a great deal of trouble upon the company. In this world, there was a group called AEON, opposing the company and its technology. The AEON group frequently targeted the company with their attacks. The nurse who caused the disturbance was affiliated with this group. When Sophie learned about the attack, she became really mad. We were shown two capable people who worked for Sophie as her guards. This gave us a clearer picture of the company and its selfish leader, Sophie. Sophie was willing to do anything to achieve her goals. If a potential donor didn't want to give their age, she and her guards would come up with plans that sometimes led to killing them. They saw the AEON group as their enemies, and this attack made them work even harder. Now, let's shift our focus to Max. He was a very happy person with a successful life. He lived in a big, expensive house with his wife, and they loved each other a lot. Max's wife worked at a hospital, and whenever she came home, she would find Max cooking for her. This made her really happy. The house they lived in was bought with a loan that they hadn't finished paying back. However, Max was confident that they would manage the loan payments, so he didn't stress about it. He really liked children and enjoyed spending time with them. Both Max and his wife were having a good time together. On a different day, Max's wife came to their home to visit her parents. Her father strongly disagreed with Max's company, and this caused arguments between them. Despite this, Max chose not to speak badly about his company. He hoped to help others understand the hard work they put in. One evening, when they returned home, they were shocked to find their building on fire. Their entire house was engulfed in flames. Max's wife was extremely surprised and worried. In this tough situation, Max tried to comfort her, telling her to stay calm. He reassured her that only their possessions had been damaged. The couple believed the insurance would cover the fire damage to their home, but they were shocked when the insurance company refused, blaming a candle for the fire and claiming negligence. This news caused the husband and wife to become very worried. The loan they had taken for their house was very large, a staggering 2.5 million euros. Even if they worked hard for their whole lives, it seemed impossible to repay this amount. Desperate, they consulted a lawyer who informed them that they had only one option left. The lawyer explained that when Max's wife had taken the loan, she had agreed to a special arrangement. If they couldn't repay the loan, She would have to give 40 years of her life to the bank. Learning about this shocked Max. He had no idea about this condition and felt trapped. They were in a difficult situation because they had to find a way to repay the loan. Facing the daunting prospect of giving away 40 years of their lives, Max bravely offered to make the sacrifice. However, there was no one else who could fulfill this commitment, except for his wife. This realization weighed heavily on both of them, thrusting their lives into an unexpectedly perilous situation. Despite the dire circumstances, Max remained a pillar of strength for his wife, reassuring her that they would find a solution. Their lives had taken an alarming and unforeseen turn. As they left their lawyer's office, a sudden twist occurred. Max's wife was arrested. The bank's strict regulations meant that they feared she might attempt to flee. With no other options in sight, Max turned to his boss, Sophie, for help. She initially agreed to assist, but 2 weeks passed without any support materializing. Max's anxiety grew as the deadline approached for the bank to claim 40 years of his wife's life. The impending day of reckoning drew closer. Max visits the bank with his lawyer, hoping to say a final goodbye to his wife. However, he's not allowed to see her. Her life's 40 years are transferred through a medical procedure and given to an elderly man. With the loan finally paid off, Max returns home with his wife, both overwhelmed by worry. His wife is visibly aging, and Max desperately searches for a way to restore her youth. They long for a child but face obstacles. His wife's increasing age brings sadness, and their relationship changes from what it once was. One day in the park, Max encounters a girl selling illegal items from her bag. Though he doesn't buy anything, he remembers the encounter. This encounter prompts Max to confront his wife's deteriorating condition and the challenges they face. Feeling determined, Max resolves to locate the person who received his wife's age and retrieve it from them. He arranges for his wife to stay with her parents temporarily, even though they blame him for her accelerated aging. Max assures them he'll find a solution. Max seeks out the girl from the park, who had actually undergone the same age-altering process. She had significantly reduced her age through this method. Max approaches her, hoping to learn more about how the process works. She explains that both the person giving their age and the person receiving it must be involved, and the process requires a trip to Russia. Max agrees to these conditions. Max first discovers the identity of the individual who had taken his wife's age. He learns that the recipient is a woman, prompting him to quickly locate her. He manages to subdue and abduct her. Max goes to his wife and honestly shares everything with her. She stands by Max's side and supports his decisions. They wonder if there's anyone who wouldn't want to regain their lost youth. Together, they plan to leave their country to escape the situation. However, as they prepare to leave, they discover that the girl Max had taken is actually the daughter of the company's leader. It turns out that Max's wife hadn't lost her years. Instead, it was the company's head, Sophie, who had given away her own years. This revelation comes as a last-minute surprise to Max. Despite this twist, Max remains hopeful. He believes that the kidnapped girl, being Sophie's daughter, might share DNA similarities with his wife. This could potentially help restore the 40 lost years. At the same time, Sophie's guards suspect the Adam group of being behind the kidnapping. However, they realize that the group is known for assassination, not abduction. Using his clever thinking, Guards navigates through the complexities of the situation. The guards discover that the responsibility lies with someone else, likely a fellow worker who had privileged access. Their swift investigation reveals the identity of the culprit, a co-worker who had a connection to the company. The motive behind their actions remains a puzzle, given their previous loyalty to the company. Max, his wife, and Sophie's daughter undertake a risky sea voyage to cross the border. Concealed within a closed container, they navigate this dangerous journey. Upon reaching the port, they encounter heightened security measures that pose a threat to their escape. Despite the risk, they proceed, using the cover of a family's vehicle, inside which Max, his wife, and Sophie's daughter are hidden. Max adeptly handles the situation, ensuring they avoid suspicion and successfully cross the border. In a surprising development, Sophie's daughter eventually removes a cloth from her mouth, revealing a startling revelation. She is not actually Sophie. Facing Sophie's daughter's revelation, Max remains unfazed, assuring her that their connection remains strong regardless of whether she is Sophie or her daughter. He is determined to accomplish their goal and restore his wife's youth. However, the situation is difficult for Max's wife to handle. Sophie's daughter expresses her opposition to her mother's actions, but Max remains focused on his mission. As they plan to spend the night at an empty hotel, Sophie's daughter requests to take a bath. Max shows empathy and goes to stand aside, respecting her privacy. However, the situation takes an unexpected turn as the clever girl seizes an opportunity, attacking Max and making her escape. Despite suffering a head injury, Max is determined to pursue her. The girl manages to flee to the nearby jungle, leaving Max in pursuit. The frightened girl's fear prevents her from swimming, but Max's wife intervenes, quickly helping her out of the water. They return to the hotel, where they secure her by tying her hands and feet. Meanwhile, Sophie begins assembling her team to secure her daughter's release. 2 of Sophie's most loyal guards are put in charge of this mission. Having served her for the past 3 decades, their ages, too, had been extended. These guards are privy to Max's location and, under Sophie's guidance, set out to confront him. Simultaneously, the Atom Group and their leader arrive at the hotel room the next morning, having learned of Max's whereabouts. This opportunity is precisely what they had been seeking, a chance to strike a blow against Sophie and her company. With Sophie's daughter in their custody, the Atom Group now possesses a powerful leverage to exploit against Sophie. Sophie is willing to go to great lengths to rescue her daughter. The Atom Group, led by their leader, is determined to capture Max, his wife, and Sophie's daughter. Max explains that they oppose the company's actions, but the leader already knows this. Sophie's desire for youth led her to manipulate Max and his wife. She targeted them because Max's wife was a potential donor, and their house fire was part of a calculated plan by Sophie. The company's determination to achieve its goals drives these actions, even if it means ruining lives. Max's realization brings sadness. As Sophie's team approaches to save her daughter, the Atom Group leader seizes the chance to capture Sophie. He aims to hold her accountable for her actions, seeking justice for her wrongdoings. Max's options were limited if he wanted to ensure his wife's safety. He had to comply with the leader's demands. A comprehensive plan was put in place. Max's role was to lure Sophie into a building, where the Atom Group would apprehend her. As Sophie and her team arrive outside the building, Max steps forward and requests to speak to Sophie privately. He proposes a deal. He'll release Sophie's daughter in exchange for a substantial sum of money. Sophie cautiously agrees, and they agree to continue the conversation inside. However, the suspicion of Sophie's guard is aroused, prompting her to point her gun at Max, declaring it's a trap. The leader orders his team to open fire, resulting in a firefight. In the chaos, Max seizes the opportunity and escapes with his wife and Sophie's daughter. Max's wife can't help but feel compassion for Sophie's daughter. Max's wife had second thoughts about ruining Sophie's daughter's life and youth. However, she soon recognized her own resemblance to her selfish mother and decided not to pity her. Taking Sophie's daughter to the doctor, she underwent a medical process that restored her youth. Meanwhile, Max joined the Atom Group to dismantle the company that had caused so much trouble. As time passed, Sophie's daughter aged, saddened by her mother's refusal to donate her age. Despite the chance to help, Sophie remained selfish. The film concludes with Max and the Atom Group preparing to attack the company and eradicate its influence. Thank you for watching our recap. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button and feel free to explore our other recaps.